Have you ever had any stupid losses? Sure you have. I always show my highlights, but there's a lot of things to learn by looking at my lowlights too. Let's look at some mistakes I made and try to figure out what I could have done differently. So I'm flying a stabber in a small gang, and we engage a couple of bait notices on this gate. We should all pretty much be able to remain safe because we're faster than them and we can bounce off and we can just control our range, and notices are pretty slow. But once a Vexer jumps through, and I know it's like a ratting fit Vexer that's just coming to give some moral support, I get a little greedy. And despite the fact that I screwed up and let a Gnosis get far too close to me, I just go hard on this Vexer, and I overestimate how long I can hold out with this Gnosis attacking me. And I lose the stabber. I just hyper fixated on the Vexer because I had a lust for Vexer blood apparently. We had killed a number of them before, and I know they're easy to kill. But it cost me the stabber that had gotten out of much trickier situations in this room. So with my solo jackdaw fit, Ishtars are usually pretty safe if they're paying attention because they just hit like a truck. The advantage of the jackdaw is it can try for them, and it's super slippery and it can get out if the Ishtar is paying attention. But once I get it in the hull, I get greedy, right? I see the possibility of an Ishtar kill, but as somebody in chat put it, if you feel like you're going to die, you're probably going to die. Could have escaped any time, but I just didn't. This Harbinger got out of some tricky situations earlier in the room, so I kind of felt invincible. I was in a small gang playing with a rather large response fleet from Pandemic Horde coming for our heads. And I land outside an ESS and I start burning away. They land kinda on the right side and start coming at me. And I figured that I could pick off some of the small stuff that gets ahead, but they just really weren't spread out far enough, and they did a good job not whelping into me, and I did a bad job keeping my head on straight and calmly assessing the situation, what to do. I probably should have just left when they landed as close as they did on the ESS grid. This is the real kicker. I could have left this late. Look, there's no point, no scram, I'm aligned. I could have just left right here, but I was still greedy. I was so greedy. There was no reason to keep playing at this point. Look at how many things are so close to me. At this point, I'm just flailing. I'm clearly panicked. I probably could have picked up a few kills, but the mistake was not so much what I was doing now. It was being here in the first place. I should have left. In this next clip of a couple of small gangs skirmishing outside an ESS, I'm in a Harbinger Navy and I have a handful of T1 cruisers and my dual box interceptor versus a couple of very shiny Orthruses, a Harbinger Navy, and their own interceptor. And a lot of my friends are getting out of position, getting picked off when they need to stay kind of behind the Harbinger Navy and close to it, so the Orthruses really don't have a chance to get into shooting them without also taking shots from the Harbinger Navy. because the Orthoses aren't scared of the T1 cruisers at all. The Harbinger Navy does a lot of damage, and it is scary to them, but it's also very slow, and positioning is kind of important here. The time limit we have to play on grid is basically until their own Harbinger Navy catches up to us. Because the only advantage we have is that we have this Harbinger Navy on our side that's kind of a big bubble of you can't come here, or else you get actually hurt. Our only chance to do something is to exploit that bubble of territory control we have with our slow, hard-hitting ship. Right here, the Orthos overextends. My heated webs are 22 kilometers. Harbinger Navy just puts out so much damage. You don't wanna eat it head on, even if you're a shiny Orthos. At this point, I think if I got a web on their Harbinger Navy and gotten ready to web their Orthos as it moved in, I might have had a chance to get out. I'm not 100% sure, but I wasn't completely on the ball here. And it might have played out differently had I been. Here I land outside of Plex, and there's a Scythe fleet and a couple comets and a Dragoon. And in my head, I'm hoping that the comets are afterburner, because a lot of frigates in the Warzone are afterburner fit. They end up not being. I have some backup coming. They're gonna land right where I am, but I should have told them to warp a little farther than I warped and burned backwards myself. Instead, I kind of fixated on the Dragoon and get tackled by the Scythe fleet, and it's just bad news bears for an Osprey Navy if it gets tackled by anything. At this point, maybe I should have put both of my nukes on one of the comets and killed the other comet. I'm not going to kill the Scythe Navy fast enough. My comets are a lot of damage themselves. But I was just hoping my backup was coming fast enough at this point. But an Osprey is not the thickest thing in the world. At least the way I have it fit, it's nano-kitey. Basically, if you're nano-kitey, kite. This is a fun little kerfuffle in there, and I think one of the mistakes I made at the start was to not go towards my friends who had the signable tackles. I could have killed the signable faster. It took too long for us to kill the signable because I wasn't moving in to use higher damage. And that would have put me by my friends when all of their friends landed, so I would have had a bit of a screen when their friends came. I guess I really wanted that cormorant for some reason. It's not a great call to fixate on something, especially something as trivial as the cormorant. I mean, it's dangerous to the frigates in my group, but if I'm being perfectly honest, I was the heavy hitter here. I needed to start clearing the stuff that was actually a danger to me. The saber obviously lands and goes for me because I am the shiny thing on field. And the Hakates come behind it. I kill the saber, I kill a Hakate, and then I hyper-focus on a retribution. I go on a retribution. It's the tankiest thing on field and I go for it. It was a mistake. Just watch how fast this Hakate dies. They go down fast. Here's the problem. This retribution, watch how fast it doesn't go down. It doesn't go down fast. Basically, to put it simple, don't shoot the tankiest thing on field unless there's a really good reason for it needing to die. Hakates do the most damage on field by far, and they're a lot easier to snap. with my medium newt and my web. They don't have an ADC, they go down a lot faster. I think it's really important to reflect on your losses. You can only control what you do, and even in the situations that feel the most hopeless, there's often a lot of things you could have done differently to improve your outcome, if not avoid the loss. It's really easy to blame your enemy for using ECM or damping you or bringing an overpowered ship. Like the Orthrus is a bullshit. Everybody knows that. It's fine, but that's part of the game. As long as Orthruses exist, they will be around. You have to know how to deal with them, or that you should avoid them if you can't deal with them. Basically, just worry about what you did, because what you do is the only thing you can actually control. I hope watching my losses will help you avoid some of your own. Thanks for watching.